Welcome to this series where I will introduce you to Switzerland's finest knife shops. Today we're visiting Elsener Messerschmied in the beautiful town of Rapperswil, which is located near Lake Zurich in the canton of St. Gallen. This is where I met Philippe a couple of years ago, and I was immediately impressed by the quality of his craftsmanship. He'll take us inside of his workshop and he'll show us around. They've got stocked an amazing collection of high-end knives. So maybe Philippe, you can show us around?
Yeah, of course.
Let's go.
I have a very beautiful kitchen knife here from Wüsthof, and we had a chip here in this area, which I fixed already. So we have about 13 different machining steps. First I grind 2 bevels from each side with an angle about 2 or 5 degrees, so very flat. And then I start the Dünnschliff, so it's a thin grinding, it's a German expression. It's the secret of a good kitchen knife. You can see the difference. This is original. Here is the first bevel, and this is the thin grinding. We call it full high convex grinding. So the convexity starts at the back and ends at the edge. So it's like a full high convexity.
So Philippe, this company has a long history.
Yeah.
It's a family business. Can you tell me about it a little bit, the history? And
It's a very old family business. It's run in the 8th generation.
oh, eighth generation.
It's founded 1761. It has been always in the bloodline of the family.
Can you tell me about what you do here and what your role is in the company? Because you're not the only family member still working.
Yeah, we are
here.
3 family members at the time of the young generation. We call us young again. And we have still our parents and our aunt and uncle helping a little bit. Yeah, and I'm the manager of the workshop.
Okay.
And our work here especially is doing maintenance of cutlery.
You're really highly specialized in sharpening and maintenance of knives, right?
Yeah. Our main work is resharpening kitchen knives, scissors, tweezers, hair scissors, dressing scissors, whatever. Yeah.
I've seen you do hollow sharpening and of scissors, which is not something you find a lot these days.
Yeah.
It's very specialized.
I think it's just a few people left who can do it. So we do in German it's called Freihand querhohl, also freehand hollow ground in the inside of the scissor, so that you have better conditions to cut.
I guess you can only do it by hand.
It's only possible by hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were trained as a bladesmith, or where did you get your training, or how did you grow into this?
So I'm actually mechanic. In Switzerland we call it Polymechaniker.
Okay.
And I worked for 7 or 8 years, and then I had the opportunity to come into family business. So I learned everything from my father, from my uncle, and I went to several different companies in Switzerland and Europe to learn about knives. Yeah.
You've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, for 21 years.
Let's compare this business with 20 years ago or 15 years ago. Have you noticed any change?
I was in the business when Japanese blades were sold a lot in Switzerland. So about 16 or 17 years ago, they started with the Kai knives, and we sold a lot of them, and people got the knives at home. They get dull and damaged, so they brought them back, and we were the first workshop in Europe who was able to rebuild the complete blade in its original consistency. So
Yes.
with a shape, thickness, surface, sharpening on the waterstones, and surface treatments that you can see, the Damascus pattern. And so we did it the first in Europe, and it was almost as new.
Okay.
So, and this is a big difference between the early days and now, because when our fathers and family worked here, they didn't have any Japanese blades.
I guess they were all German blades, Solingen
And
blades.
of course, Victorinox blades, a lot of Victorinox stuff. And it's not the same, so we don't treat the Japanese blades as we treat German or Swiss blades.
Okay.
So we spend a lot more time in Japanese blades in thin grinding, because the steel is very high hardened, so you're able to thin grind at maximum.
Okay. I saw you went to Japan a while ago.
Yeah.
You got some training there, you went to visit some workshops. What happened there?
Yeah, I met a very famous Danish guy. His name is Björn Heidberg in Osaka and Seki City. He's like the knife man. Everybody knows him, and he invited me to come to Osaka to his shop, Tower Knives.
Okay.
Which is maybe the most rushy and famous knife shop I have ever seen in my life.
Okay.
And I was there for a whole week only in this shop to see how they sell knives. They sell up to 500 knives per day.
Oh.
And it's amazing how they treat the customers. And because he sells so many knives, he started his own brand.
Yes.
I was there to see, to learn, to understand why and how they grind the knives.
Okay.
And actually, what we do here is almost the same.
Because you have some Japanese imported equipment, especially for that. I guess that's pretty unique in Switzerland.
Yeah, we are actually right now building a Hiramai machine to build the edge at the end of our process.
There's more to this. There's not only the workshop, but you also have a shop where you sell kitchen supplies and a lot of knives. And I liked it because when I first met you, I saw that you have like production knives, but you also do the really high-end Japanese knives. If a collector would come to the shop, he would surely be amazed by what you have in stock.
Yeah, we have some nice stuff, very high quality, especially very thin grinded Japanese and German kitchen knives.
Okay.
And we have a small selection of them, but it's very hard to get Japanese kitchen knives. So the waiting time until supply is about 1 year at least.
Oh, really? 1 year?
It's unbelievable. So the whole world wants Japanese knives.
I need you to show me around in the shop,
I
because
can show you
I
something.
want to show that to the people, because the selection here is really amazing. You got a lot of nice things in stock. Philip, can you show us around in the shop?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. We have a lot of kitchenware here, so to cleaning stuff, isolated bottles. We have a lot of scissors,
Shaving equipment.
shaving, straight shaving equipment with a brush, soap, straight
Okay.
shaver, and
Old school.
old school. I
Yes.
like the old school shaving. It's cheaper and better.
Okay, we're at the kitchen knives section. A lot of different things to choose from, and also a lot of Japanese knives. But you wanted to show me something.
Yeah, I wanted to show you my favorite. It's from Masashi Yamamoto, and he has, in my opinion, he produces the most beautiful knives. you can get, and it's still affordable. You can feel the double convexity from the handle to the tip. If you look over the back, you see. Yeah, it's very impressive, and it's hand forged. I have seen the forge in Japan. It's very impressive. Very thin, very beautiful nail.
Is it carbon steel or stainless steel?
No, it's stainless. Yeah. I can show you something from Germany, which is actually also Damascus blade, hand forged by Hohenmorer Messermanufaktur. And yeah, I like the roughness of the whole blade.
This is also stainless.
No, this is not stainless, but it's treated with acid, so it has got like a natural protection for corrosion.
Very nice.
But I like this. I like the design.
The shape is really nice.
Yeah,
yes.
And the handle and the attaching system, it's very straight, and I really like it. Yeah, a very nice
cool
guy. He's from Kiel, close to Kiel. You want to see my all-time favorite knife?
Of course.
Yeah. It's only one thing. It's
This is German.
It's German. It's a K-chef from Windmühlen Knives, Giselheid Herder. She's the company owner, and she's the daughter of Mr. Herder, which was the former owner of the company. And they still celebrate the thin grinding for blades, like Japanese blades.
And it's still made in Germany, right?
It's made in Solingen, and it's extremely thin. So we call it goes to the nail. So the blade is in the edge area so thin that you can push your nail through the material. You have to touch it.
Yes, that's very thin.
And full high convexity is polished by hand. Oops.
I'm a professional, no worries. So Philippe, I can see you have a lot of kitchen knives, but you also have quite a big selection of outdoor knives and survival knives and camp knives.
Yeah, I mean, you know, most of the knives in this size from this counter are hunting knives. And hunting knives is very specific area to use. So only a hunter can use a hunting knife. If you want to use the knife for bushcrafting, it doesn't work.
Exactly.
So the question is, what for you want to use the knife? And if people say, I want to go to the woods, make some fire, there is actually only one option for me.
Okay.
And it's the Falkniven.
Yes.
Yeah, and
it's a very good brand.
I like it. You know, just a few small little things to think about. If you hold a knife and the beginning of the edge is very close to your hand, so you don't have this.
Yeah.
How you call it?
The ergonomics work better.
Yeah, much better than everything else. And then you have the full high convexity.
Yes.
So like a outside convexity, very easy to do the battening.
Yes.
And to carve.
Yes.
And very stable. I know you hold it already.
It's a really nice brand. Yes.
It's
Falkniven Elmax. I like it a lot. I use Elmax a lot.
Mm-hmm. So we have something from Switzerland, handmade bushcraft and survival knife by one of the maybe most talented people I have met in my life, who makes knives.
And he's a Swiss maker.
He's a Swiss maker. It's about 20 kilometers from here.
Okay.
And full high convex with the start of the edge very close to your hand, so you have much more power.
Yes.
The handle is out of Kornelkirsche.
Okay. Which is a local wood.
It's a local wood, and it's stored over 70 years.
Oh.
Over 70 years.
So Philippe, can I ask you, can you sharpen my knife, please?
Oh, of course. It's my daily business.
I think you can, right? It's quite hard steel, so...
Elmax.
Elmax, indeed.
I know. Did many times. try to move the knife. They have only a single bevel after grinding, and until I have a burr. So the burr is the indication of interception. So if you don't have a burr, you don't have any interception. If you don't have any interception, you don't have sharpness.
Okay. So what's the next step, Philippe?
So now I'm going to brush the surface of the bevel I just produced, and yeah, let's see what's in it. Now I can see absolutely clearly one edge, no different angles, only one angle, and this is very important for me. So now we remove the burr with exactly 40 degrees with this system. Just a few moves. Super. You want to have this?